public. He was the subject of at least 2 failed attempts to qualify recalls. The concerns about crime are reflected in the polling results of black voters. Nearly 1 in 4 have been victims of violent crime or have someone close to them who has been a victim. 1 in 5 black voters have personally been victims of property crime in the last 2 years. A majority of respondents feel less safe than they did a year or 2 ago, but they reject the notion that criminal justice reform has gone too far. This year, black voters will be looking for candidates who speak to the complexity of the issues as opposed to a one-size-fits-all approach. Nearly half of black voters have an unfavorable view of DA Gascon, but his challengers are largely unknown. Nearly half of the black voters are also undecided, which means there's a clear opportunity for candidates to connect with black voters. Our poll makes 3 things abundantly clear. Black voters matter. Black voters are closely following this race, and the candidates for DA have a lot of work to do. KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to the mobilization and use of the franchise to empower our audience to identify and pursue their interests in advancing equity, inclusive representation, and multiracial solidarity. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte. We welcome your feedback.
Sometimes when I sit back and really let it register, I did everything I said I would and said it first. I mean, the world's in denial, but they all know what I'm headed for. We about to feed these youngins to the metaverse. Meanwhile, I'm over here just trying to pen a verse, cause I'm done being extra with the extroverts. The label used to wonder how I'm supposed to stand next to Vert. Probably never thought that I would get these legs to work. I work hard, but hard don't need no extra work. That's why I show up in a sweatshirt and let it burn. The world's mine, I just say, f it, let it turn. The girl's mine, I just say, f it, have it turn. The goats call me to the side like, can we have a word? I could've fronted, but I did it how I preferred.
Welcome I know I should be humble, but it's something hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Urban Spencer in the chat says, JW reminded me of a clip I saw of Orlando Brown. That is actor Orlando Brown. He was on That So Raven. He used to be on Hanging with Mr. Cooper back in the day. Started in Hollywood, maybe about 5 or 6 years old. Talking about all the baddies his father brought him. When asked who his father was, he said Lucifer. We are definitely living among demonic forces, but we aren't taught about them. Andy?
Bop.
Listen, I think that here is the thing that makes a lot of this stuff what do you
seriously though
okay.
Seriously though, Orlando Brown is honestly an example of the stories that you hear about Hollywood. To me, he's the evidence.
So, I mean, and I was going to kind of bring that up. He's been in it since he was a child, right? And it just, the thing that happens with child actors is that when they get to their teen years, the later years, there is maybe not now.
They act out.
But not only do they act out, they have the funds to do so, and things move a little differently. Again, maybe not anymore, but back in the day, they very much did, right? But when your voice starts to change and you're not the cute, chubby-cheeked kid anymore, it's not a guarantee that you will go from child actor to working adult actor. And that can be a head trip for a lot of people. It can be a hard pill to swallow, especially if this is what you have been doing since you were 5 or 6 years old. And now you're like, you're not cute anymore. Find something else to do. Not saying that that's what happened with Orlando, just, kind of laying out what generally happens. Not everyone gets to transition to be an adult working actor. And that can at times put you in a twist. And then sometimes to cope with that, you're like, okay, I'm going to go out. It's someplace to go. We don't party on the weekends in LA. We do. But most of the parties, the hot parties, the Hollywood stuff is during the week. Sunday through Wednesday, those would be the days to go out, right? And then the pedestrian people go out on the weekend. I'm just saying. That's not shade. I'm just saying that is, the Hollywood thing. And so I think that there's a lot that it takes a toll on, kids in the industry and a lot of other things. I do think I would like Orlando to get some help, though. I think that there's a lot there. And sometimes, again, I think that he's being exploited. People know that there is some mental illness there, but they also know he's going to say something funny or make them laugh or come back with something that seems salacious. So even if it's a lie, some people are going to roll with it. And I'm not saying what is a lie or what is the truth. I'm just saying people are going to allow some of these things to happen. There was a story recently where he was saying that he had relations with Diddy and Drake and Busta Rhymes and all of these people. Just a lot, and you can say, oh, well, people will cast people as crazy to disparage them, and they will. But if you give us some evidence that makes it look like that could be the case, what are we to do with it? Andy? Oh, let me get back to JW because he was getting the thing. Hey, JW, welcome back in. So,
Hey.
a little
Yeah,
grace and mercy is going a long way tonight. We appreciate it.
and you know why?
I'm listening.
Oh, okay, so I thought I cut it out. I'm glad I didn't. Yeah, the reason why it's going a long way tonight because it's the truth. It's reality. It's the universal truth. This is the era of the age of Aquarius, and the truth is going to shine no matter what. What's in the dark will come to light, and anything that's plausible or possible, and it's just based on reality, it will get exposed. And this, in reference, anybody can be exploited because of human nature. Satan exploits all of us through the flesh, and like they said, the warfare is in your mind or your psyche or your frame of thought. Follow my point?
I feel you. Thank you as always,
So,
JW. We appreciate your insight as always. Before we go to break, Urban Spinster says he, meaning Orlando, names too many names not to be telling the truth. Now his delivery is a little loony, but ain't nobody said he lied. But here's the thing. If you come out, again, I'm not saying he's lying, but if you come out against a crazy person, right, that's just rambling on the internet, I'm not saying Orlando is, I'm just setting up a scenario, right? Then it's like you're protesting too much. Why are you speaking on that? You should be Stevie Wonder to the little things. But then if you defend your name, it's all tricky. Something absolutely happened to Orlando. Now, to what degree and what? Don't know. Because do you give something more light by going after it? Or do you let it burn out on its own because there's always going to be another scandal, another topic, another headline, and we have short but long memories? Andy?
Rise B.
I mean, listen, raspberry. It is how do you, and that's why I ask, how do you help people that, I feel for Rasby, something absolutely happened to that young man. 100%. There's no question. Um, and he's crying out at various moments for help, for acknowledgement, for whatever,
And that's what Orlando Brown is probably doing too.
He is. And that is why I think more so than getting them on these podcasts or whatever for some views and some clicks, somebody has to really, if you really care about what said individuals are doing to these people, stop just listening. They've told these stories 25 times at this point. So, do you want to help them or do you care more about discussing the salacious gossip
Yeah.
of someone that you may or may not have wanted to work with, or whatever?
None of us ain't trying to help. We love this. This is all entertainment. Act more crazy. Say something stupid. We gonna talk about it. RSVP.
And we're going to talk about it, but I'm also going to ask some questions about, are you getting help and where are you going to for that help? Because here's the reality. People are always going to want to be entertained. So, with everyone saying the downfall of the entertainment industry and all of these things is happening, I do think that we are seeing the decline of the movie star. I don't think that movie stars exist anymore, and I don't know if it will come back in the same way, but I do know that people love to be entertained. They love escapism, and therefore it may not be Hollywood, but the idea, the notion, the conglomerate is still going to be there, and people are still going to willingly step up to be slaughtered. Urban Spinster in the chat says, we probably shouldn't watch Chris Stoke movies on Tubi either. I'm going to be upfront with you and tell you I do not. There are things about the situation in reference to something like that that I disagree with. Like, I think it's unfair to name other group members as victims if I am never pro speaking out for someone else as a victim if they are not okay with it. Do you know? They have to be okay with it and ready to act publicly. I don't know what people are doing behind closed doors and what goes on there, but I'm never okay with that because I think that people, again, I talk about pop culture, I talk about trending topics, but I also want to know, are you going to get some help, or are you just going to keep coming out and saying these same stories, and eventually people are going to lose interest and move on to something more salacious? Andy?
I mean, maybe he doesn't know how to ask for help. Maybe he doesn't, even think something is wrong with him. He's a hurt individual. He got taken advantage of, and I'm acting out.
Who, Raz?
Is that who you were talking about? You were talking about
well,
Raz?
I was
or
just
in general? Okay,
yeah.
well, in general, too, yeah.
I mean,
these cats are coming from a hurt place.
I do believe that, but I also think that there are people that are around. Who's booking these interviews? Who are they reaching out to? Somebody.
They're all for the money. They're not trying to help. Like you said. They're low key. I hate to even say it like that, but yeah, they're taking advantage of these people.
And that is the tragedy of it in me. When you think of the Jaguars, the Orlandos, the Raz, etc., people do not care at all what happens to them after that camera closes or that mic is off. They just want to keep hearing the mess.
And the reality, though, I hate to say it, the world really doesn't care about your emotions like that. Right? It's a dog-eat-dog world.
That is
facts.
And
everybody's over here trying to catch a bag. So, if catching the bag is at the expense of your pain, we're going to exploit that. And I feel like that's how the world works on whatever industry it is. And it's unfortunate.
It is. Listen, when we come forward, is it time? I can't remember. Okay, yeah. When we come forward, we're going to get into the Columbus short clip. And in this clip, it's from an interview a few years ago. And Columbus claimed that Diddy tried to recruit him. So we're going to get into that, plus more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
Don't shave with that, son. You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops. I'm good with Gillette's Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard anyway? You know Mama hates it.
Yeah, had it since my last wet shave in '77. Got ingrown so bad, looked like I was growing a patch of new noses.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturize, so I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
She's so smooth, so... I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
Hey. Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So before we play the Columbus short clip, I just want to read you the final statements from Sean Hawley, Diddy's attorney. She says that reckless name dropping about events that are pure fiction and simply did not happen is nothing more than a transparent attempt to garner headlines. We have overwhelming, indisputable proof that his claims are complete lies. Our attempts to share this proof with Mr. Jones' attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, have been ignored, as Mr. Blackburn refuses to return our calls. We will address these outlandish allegations in court and take all the appropriate action against those who make them, i.e., we suing. Now, I want to point out a couple of things because we often talk about what happens and what doesn't happen. The guy, Brother Bilal, that appeared on Tasha K, people were like, well, he said they didn't sue him, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Whatever the project that he was trying to roll out independently also has not come to light with the threats, right? Maybe they reached a settlement behind closed doors, but that is something of note, right? Because we've seen a lot of this over the past couple of months. You also think about the situation a few months ago with Christian Keys. We haven't heard anything else about it. A lot of hoopla, a lot of people's names were thrown out, and people were sure. They were like, ooh, it's this person's time. The reckoning is here. And the only thing that we've heard is that Christian has announced a podcast. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Andy's saying he knows. And it's the De Niro, the green, the bucks, the money. And that is very much possibility, likely, right? That is what we assume. But my question is, again, how do we protect those that because okay, and I'm not mad at anyone, if they suffered something, they want to take their money and go and live their life and yada, yada, yada. But if you say in your statement, I want to prevent others from this happening to them, whatever, whatever, and then you go silent, radio silent. And again, I know there are agreements when legal documents happen and legal transactions, I should say, and things are worked out. But how are you in one moment saying that I want to help shield and protect, and then now you have nothing at all to say? I don't know. I think about it. Again, it's no blame. I know it's a hard choice, and I know that the ultimate option, if you were hurt or wronged, is that you want to be compensated and you want to be able to live your life and work freely. Because that's the other thing about all of this that is unspoken. The idea that these people will not allow you to pursue your dream, to pursue your work, to be able to sustain yourself. Andy?
Well, Lil Rod, he talked about how, he's pretty much fearful for his life after speaking out. So that could be a strong reason as to why you probably haven't heard much from anybody else who spoke out.
No, and I
They're
understand
fearful
that.
for their life.
No, I completely understand that. And that is how, though, right? People are able to continue to abuse. And I'm not saying, listen, I understand if you don't want to be a martyr, you don't want to be the face. I understand and I respect that that is your choice. You have to figure out if you were wrong, how you will get through it and repair yourself. Put your oxygen mask on you first. I get that. I just wonder how we move past this cycle of, oh my God, that happened. Then it goes away. And then everybody's shocked again 2 months later when the next celebrity is involved in something similar, and everyone's standing there like, I just wanted to be a star.
Well, at this point, I feel like we've talked about this, and not even just with Diddy, just with everybody, even Lizzo and her situation.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, if you're listening to at least me and Jill discuss this conversation, and you get shocked again, that's on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But even then, like, we've always heard stuff about Hollywood. Why are people acting surprised? For me, I'm not. I don't get surprised. I'm already thinking the evil stuff that these cats are doing. Even some of the people that I've admired or admire now. I just wouldn't put it past them that these cats are doing crazy things for the bag.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the hood and I saw the average Joe. What did you call? You call them pedestrians, right?
Yeah.
I know pedestrians that'll do crazy stuff just for $20.
Exactly.
So imagine millions.
And how do you protect someone for that, right? And then, not saying with any of these cases, but if I'm like, you gonna give me $20 to drink this bottle of hot sauce, right?
Somebody probably would do it.
And I drink the bottle of hot sauce and they like, I'll give you 40 next time, but you got to drink 1.5.
Somebody might do it.
Exactly. Urban Spinster says civilians. I call it pedestrian. That's just, I don't know. That's just the word that I've used for a while. It's no shade. It's no
They're the
thing.
same.
It's just, yeah, same thing. I don't know. Let's listen to this Columbus short clip because it's kind of funny. But, Columbus seemed to find a way in this version of the story, I guess, to shake and move. And what I will say is, I know someone that is good friends, used to be good friends with him. This is about maybe 10, longer ago than that, maybe 15 years ago, maybe right after Scandal dropped, or maybe in between the stuff with Britney and right before Scandal. I'm not sure. But they said that he always used to say, the Illuminati tried to come and get me. And, maybe they did. Let's listen.
So this went on for about a year. Any parties he had, like
Right.
I was,
He would go.
I didn't know that there was other parties.
Yeah. You wasn't at them parties.
I wasn't at those
Okay.
parties. I was
Okay.
at the big party.
The big. Mm-hmm.
And then Diddy called me one day after I did Cadillac Records. He came to the premiere of Cadillac Records in New York, and he was like, "Man, you killed that." He said, "I'm up for this movie or this show." It was a movie, Raisin in the Sun.
Yeah.
He's like, "I need an acting coach, man." So I put him with my acting coach that I had since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he my acting coach. Big shout out, Josh Patan, wonderful, phenomenal acting coach. And he started working with him. Then Diddy was on a series for a little bit, and then he was working. So he was always looking out. So I think it was just now looking back, it's like the groomage, right?
Yeah.
So I was. The BET Awards were happening in town. I didn't go because I wasn't nominated. So I'm like, I'm not going. I'm not nominated. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting my black behind at the crib. So about 2:30 in the morning, 2:15, 2:30 in the morning, phone rings. This is an unknown number. I don't answer unknown numbers. But, my wife looking at me like,
Yeah.
Who is that?
Pick that up.
I want to know about this.
So and put it on speaker.
Yeah.
I picked it up. I said, "Who is this?" It's Sean. I'm like, "Sean? It's Puff." I'm like, "Oh, what's good?"
You talking low like that?
He's talking low. So I was like, "Hey, what's good?" I said, "What's cracking?" He said, "We didn't see you. We didn't see you tonight at the BET Awards. We didn't see you tonight." He said,
You checking in?
He said, "What you doing?" I was like, "Oh man, I'm at the crib." He said, "Oh yeah, we over here at the." He said, "I'm over here at the Beverly Hills Hotel." I said, "Oh, for real?" I said, "Who over there?" "Just me."
What? Come on, man. That man ain't saying. You serious?
He said, "Just me." So my wife, I'm over here on the suspect list.
What the hell?
So I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm in bed, bro. I'm good." He's like, "I," and just hung up.
Listen, when we come forward, we'll get more into that. Plus, more trending topics and headlines. We're going to talk about Ressa Tessa and the potential that she might be facing a lawsuit. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Program. I'm a grown man. Call me Pops. Around and take your phone, man. Everybody know Jack, but they don't know Jack, man. They just know I got the flows and the packed out shows. Ain't too many cons when you playing with the pros, except for how your life get exposed. But I make that sacrifice for the life that I chose. I know in Toronto they got salt for the roads, but school's closed in Kentucky, so I like when it snowed. The kids
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. NBC News is projecting former President Trump as winner of the Michigan Republican primary. Trump has held a commanding lead in the state throughout the primaries. Although Biden did not have a major primary challenger in the contest, he did face some headwinds in Michigan as Arab American activists in the state rallied voters to cast an uncommitted ballot to protest his handling of the Israel-Hamas war. Improvements to streets and sidewalks, recreational areas, parks, and plazas are in the 5-year plan for the nation's capital. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, who is black, presented more information about the $400 million downtown public realm plan, which the mayor hopes will bring people back into Washington. 4 projects expected to be catalysts for growth include the Connecticut Avenue Capitol Promenade, I Street Greenway, the Vermont Avenue Connector, and Gallery Place Festival Plaza. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
New year, new hiring needs? Indeed's end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
All I need is one mic. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Recently, the Washington Post ran a major story which in sum reveals that racial discrimination in jury selection persists in America. Most often, the practice occurs through a legal tactic called peremptory challenge, which allows an attorney to strike a potential juror without having to state a reason. In the 1986 Batson Doctrine, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the use of peremptory challenges to exclude potential jurors solely based on their race violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. By the way, The late great Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall despised peremptory challenges. New data in the Washington Post story underscores that nearly 40 years after the Batson decision, the problem remains widespread. One study in the Deep South found that black jurors are being challenged and dismissed at double and triple the rates of other prospective jurors. Bottom line, it's racist, it's wrong, and it's pervasive, even as research shows that racially diverse juries spend more time deliberating, make fewer errors, and can result in fairer trials. One of the arguments in the Ninth Circuit appeal, brought by former LA City Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas, is about violation of that Batson doctrine. In its case against MRT, the U.S. Attorney's Office struck black women from the jury pool based on demeanor and employment status, a clear violation of the law. A long list of high-profile black law professors, historians, and justice centers have now filed amicus briefs in support of MRT's position. But the irony of a black elected official who for more than 3 decades represented the best interests of his black constituents, having black women voters struck from his jury pool is repugnant and morally wrong. So much for being judged by a jury of your peers. MRT's legal team argues correctly in its filing that given well-established law and legal principles set forth by the Supreme Court, Ninth Circuit, and state courts and legislatures, the Ninth Circuit should likewise reaffirm and clearly state that applying facially neutral justifications in discriminatory ways to target black women and other protected groups presumptively violates Batson. I couldn't agree more. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your comments.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin, ultra soft on the party. This is more, so roll it back, everybody. Roll it back. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The cream is always soft. It's our party vibe. She's crushing everything, so our cheeks feel fine. So what? Everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back into hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. That was my song. That was like my theme song at the time because I definitely rocked out in tomboy chic. Every once in a while I was dressed thing, but nope, definitely was like that.
We got like 22 minutes left here on the West Coast,
Mhm.
but I just wanted to wish Miss Chili a happy birthday.
It is Chili's birthday. Shout out to no, it's Pisces. Which makes so much sense. The emotions and all of that. Shout out to Chili. Is it 53 now? I think she's turning 53. Listen, I know y'all mad at Chili a little bit because she said that she's caramel and not chocolate, but Miss Chili is beautiful in her 53-ness. Yes. And, clear skin. I think she said she's a vegan, still works out, and is happy in her new relationship. So, shout out to her. Okay. The Columbus short thing. Funny, interesting. I don't know. There is the video. I don't know if you guys remember when Diddy was on Drink Champs a few years ago, and he was severely intoxicated. He was a little too loose in the session. Like, the alcohol was flowing, and that's when he was asking Fab, why have you never come party with Diddy and stuff like that, and Fab was looking mad uncomfortable. Again, these situations, there are things that have been out there to indicate something is not all the way kosher. Everybody said that they heard about it, but it just continues to move on, So we will have to see. DJ Academics also came at Young Miami, brought her up again, based off of this. I mean, listen, he doesn't make her look good in this, and Lil Rod implied that her cousin assaulted him as well. I don't know. We'll have to see what ultimately happens, but both sides claim that they are armed with proof that the other side is lying, irrefutable proof. So we will have to see. Shout out to Michael Maza in the chat. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you tapping in. Okay, so listen. KBLA Talk 1580 has released the groundbreaking results from a survey about environmental issues and the impact of pollution and climate change on our community. The poll provides unique insights into Black voter sentiment and preferences on key environmental and social justice issues. Hit up KBLA1580.com so that you can get all of the information. The results highlight that there is a direct connection between environmental justice, social justice, and civil rights. Equally important, respondents believe that pollution, climate change, and other forms of environmental harm impact Black and Latino communities, low-income communities, more than white, Asian, and coastal communities. So, like I said, you can check out all of the information from that, plus more. It's a wealth of information on the website. Head over to KBLA Talk1580.com for more information. We are here for the community. So, let's talk a little bit about Ressa Tessa. So, if you haven't checked out Who TF Did I Marry, the 50-part TikTok series that has been making the viral rounds as of late about a woman who explained just how the man that she met, who she thought was her dream man, actually lied about absolutely everything. And just by the grace of God, as we've been talking about grace and mercy tonight, didn't find her in a worse situation. Well, Jerome McCoy, who is known as Legion in the videos, because of course, you social media people tracked him down and found his identity and all of his pictures and stuff, because everybody's an internet detective. Well, he said that in his version of events, because he recently went on TMZ, because why not? He said that the allegations made against him by Ressa, and her real name is Teresa Johnson, are false. He said the portrayal of him in the video is entirely false, and that there is a extreme contradiction between their narratives, and it could lead to a legal dispute. Ressa said that, she made numerous allegations, like it was a 50-part TikTok series, right? Accusing him of lying about his career, his family, the amount of money he had, all of these things, right? And he is now retaliating with his own version of events. He admits that he and Ressa struggled with trust issues, but he claims that Ressa attempted to reconcile with him while she was allegedly threatening to expose him if he didn't comply. He says that his refusal to make amends is why these accusations are coming to light. So basically, he's saying, she wanted to get back with me. She wanted me to do some things I would not. And she threatened to expose me in a bad light, and now she has. He says that the fallout from the videos is impacting his job. He said that he works in PR at a hospital. Okay. And that he will consult with some attorneys. And he believes that Ressa caused harm to the company that he works for. I don't know how. She never mentioned the company. She, tried to keep it general, but like I said, the internet. I mean, this woman wasn't famous, so people had to do a little bit of work to figure out what was going on and put two and two together. But, if you got time, somebody had time. So he says that the company believes that her TikToks harmed them, and, he might be suing monetary damages. We are a litigious society. We'll have to see what develops with that. Listen, when we come forward, more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
That was another way. I would smoke once an hour. That didn't work either. All that would happen at some point of the day, I would end up doubling up. Other ways that I tried to quit was I stopped buying cigarettes totally. But if I took 3 puffs off of 15 friends, those didn't count because they weren't my cigarettes and they weren't full cigarettes. I went through a lot.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're looking for the most epic place on Earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% on your choice of any 3 or more A.O. Smith water heaters. Plus, save an extra 5% every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's business credit card. Visit us for the materials you need. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. 5% offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store at lowes.com/credit for details. U.S. only.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So listen, we don't ever want you to think that we believe that it's just us in debauchery and mess, right? We know that it's not, but let me make sure that I spread it all the way around. Well, we know recently Andy Cohen was accused by one of the housewives of being inappropriate with her, right? Well, now Leah McSweeney, another housewife, has come forward with more allegations. This is a separate one from the initial one that we heard about a week or two ago, claiming that Andy snorts cocaine with his favorite housewives and parties with them and does special favors for them. She says that in a new lawsuit, because everybody's getting sued, right? Because you think about this too, there were several other lawsuits that were named at the same time of this Diddy one under that law. We haven't had many updates on those, have we? Just saying. I'm not saying that there is a rhyme or reason for that. Suits do have to work their course. And as I said initially, during that time period, I believe that, you have to go through discovery if they make it that far, if there's settlement talks. So really, it's going to take a while before any of these alleged crimes reach a courtroom. So we'll have to see. But in this, she is accusing Andy as operating Bravo like a dysfunctional club that thrives off of hard drugs, encourages alcohol abuse, and turns a blind eye to sexually predatory behavior. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? The court documents were filed Tuesday by Leah McSweeney and claimed that it's an open secret at the network and that when he has his favorites, of course, they party with him and get preferential treatment. They claim that the network is also aware that a different senior senior producer routinely sends unsolicited pictures of their genitals to lower level production employees. Excuse me. But they claim that nothing has been done to correct this behavior, right? Sorry, you guys. I'm getting over a little cold. Now, the claims are that she says the network preyed on her alcohol problem, either by intentionally exasperating it or preventing her from seeking help with it when, it might have been harmful to ratings. Excuse me. So, all of this sounds familiar in what we've been hearing with all of these suits. So, I talked about it, that I believe power corrupts. You have to be a strong individual to have everything that you desire at your fingertips. Money, fame, the accoutrements, you know, whatever those other things are, and not let it overtake you. Apparently, because we hear so much about it. And obviously, Bravo, different environment, but sounds very similar to what people are alleging happened happened to him, happened to them with Diddy or with these others. And so, what happens to individuals when they get money, and what happens to individuals in the presence of money? I mentioned earlier that some of the biggest moguls from the late 90s, early 2000s, Suge Knight, Diddy, Irv Gotti, there's someone else. I'm forgetting. There's someone else. It'll come to me. But all of them are in very different predicaments now. And Dame, I mentioned Dame. And their legacies are questionable. They're being questioned. And is it just because, you know, you got a little money and you got a little power? You didn't know when to rein it back in? And again, I know it's not popular, but I do want to know, what can we do to protect the people that have a dream? Because I feel like it's always talked about people being desperate to get to Hollywood, doing anything, selling their soul, whether that's literally or figuratively. You know, I don't always think people literally mean it when they say it. But then there are other things that we have seen. But how do you protect those people? Because the stories have been out there and it's not enough. I'm not saying discourage them from wanting to pursue their dreams, but how do you encourage them not to step outside of themselves in a way that will make them feel bad? And then the question is, if you go to a party and it's wild and you participate in some things, right? I don't know if it's by force or not. If you were just enjoying the night, if you have buyer's remorse, whose responsibility is it? Again, I'm not talking about any specific case. I'm just saying in general, you know? I don't know. It's an interesting question, one that we'll be grappling with again and again over the next couple of months as these cases are either settled or go to trial and we hear more details and hear more insight. But I think that it is important that people, like JW said earlier, reconnect with their spiritual side and give yourself grace, because we're all going to make mistakes. Again, not talking about Diddy. I'm talking about individuals that, you know, maybe wanted something so bad and thought, hey, if I try this, it might be okay. I might enjoy it. You know, you got to hold on to your convictions. And you got to decide. Andy sent me a video of an interview with Noor from a few years back. And he says, when you reach a certain level, there's like 3 doors you can go in. You can go straight, right, or left. Apologies again for my coughing. But he didn't say, he said he made the choice to go straight. And he said, you know, the door on the right could be Illuminati. The door on the left could be, you know, these freak-off type situations. And you just have to know who you are and keep focused on the goal. And I think it's been said time and time again, but I just really wish that, because the thing also is, let us not be foolish enough to think that Hollywood is the only industry that experiences these type of power dynamics and, you know, this type of culture. It's not. But the seduction of Hollywood is the fame aspect. I don't even think it's always the money, because a lot of times some of these people don't have the money, but they have the illusion of the fame and the connection to celebrity, that celebrity adjacent position that so many people want to hold. So we'll have to see what develops. And, hold tight to your morals and values. Give yourself grace if you slip. God knew that you were going to, and he still loved you anyway. Listen, thank you for rocking with me tonight on RSVP with Jill Munroe. It is always a pleasure. When we come forward, you will, of course, be listening to the best of KBLA. I hope that you have an amazing night and, a restful one, too. Good night.
I came to party. Your girl was looking at me. She's a haggler, no, I'm not tagging her, but you don't want them boys to come over and start asking you what you wanna do, what you trying to do, what you wanna do, what you trying to do.
You're in a pop beat, say what? That's the man with his manager Chris and the label.